Hello, everyone, and we're back to another episode regarding the angel piece. So this is part three, and again, here's the imprimatur on the other side of the screen, where I have the imprimatur for some of the prophecies that was given for the imprimatur that was given for some of the prophecies of Luz de Maria. And if you want to know more about the imprimaturs, please refer to the first video, the introduction video, where you can see where I explain these things. So, yes. So that being said, these prophecies can be found, the ones that I mentioned in the introduction video that I'm relying on for this video series, I'm acquiring them from revelacionesmarianas.com. And again, if you want to know more, please refer to the introduction video. My name is Judah, and I'll be your host today. So, that being said, let me go to document and let's see. So, brief overview again about how this document has been written. So, I took the prophecies, and according to who said the prophecies to Luz de Maria, whether it be Jesus, the Virgin Mary, an archangel, many archangels, Saint Raphael, Saint Michael. There's a specific color attributed to the text of the one who was speaking. So green would be Jesus, blue for the Virgin Mary, etc. And then if I wrote something in my own words in the document, which is rare because the majority is just prophecy, I wrote it with yellow font and with a black highlight. So that way you can be like, oh, this is not from heaven. This is just like him putting his own spin on it, and sometimes like for organization factors or specifying a specific thing. So that's that. Um, Pictures found here are from Unsplash, so it's free. It's not pirated. So yay. Yes. So going to, let's say. So I'm gonna read this section first, and this video is gonna have me talking about a lot about this section A, because there's a lot to unpack here in my opinion. So and there's probably even more that I will not unpack on this video, but you'll see as I'm going through. So let's begin with section 2. Jesus sends his angel peace. First of the 5 secrets revealed to Luz de Maria. All of this that is written here in black in this whole section is from the same prophecy given to Luz de Maria on February 29th, 2024. So, to begin. Beloved, I come to reveal the first secret given by our Queen and Mother to her daughter, Luz de Maria. The precursor of Elijah's revival on earth is the angel of peace. He is the one who comes to open the way in the face of terrible actions of the Antichrist against the people of our King and Lord Jesus Christ. On account of this great divine plan, the angel of peace is an angel because he has the mission of being a messenger of our King and Lord Jesus Christ, in order to unite you in fulfilling the divine will at the worst moment through which humanity will be living. The angel of peace, messenger of the divine word, will open hearts, will fertilize the soil of each heart with divine love, will sow the seed so that the beloved prophet Elijah would reap what is sown by a few faithful souls, restoring love in families before our King and Lord Jesus Christ arrives in a second coming. Children of the Most Holy Trinity, here's why the arrival of the angel of peace is important. He will fight spiritually, intellectually, and physically against the acts of the Antichrist and his demonic legions. It is he who will be alongside the faithful people and who will have the divine word in his mouth. It is he who will convert a small number of human beings for the good of their souls and their salvation. He will continue his mission besides the prophet Elijah, but in another part of the earth. Okay, so I have a lot of notes in front of me, and I might add more, just a bit more. So, to start off, something that I want to highlight. Let's start with that. Where was it? That the angel peace will be a fighter. He will be physically fighting against the text of the Antichrist. So you can just imagine, it's like this fighter is like, round one. So he's going to be fighting against the Antichrist physically. It's like, if you ever heard of the story of Padre Pio, Jesus literally makes Padre Pio do the same thing against demons directly. It's like, you should read the story of Padre Pio. You'll see what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's like, it was either a dream or a vision. I think it was a dream where he was like literally, Jesus was teaching him how to fight against the devil. So in this case, the Antichrist, no, the angel of peace will be fighting physically against the Antichrist. There you go. And then another thing, there's a second note that I want to point out. Someone very important that's not really talked about in the prophecies of Luz de Maria. He is mentioned, but not really talked about. So here I'm going to mention that it is the prophet Elijah. So the angel of peace is the person, he who is mentioned in this sentence. So he, the angel of peace, will continue his mission besides the prophet Elijah, but another part of the earth. So if you go through this document, you're going to see it's like, oh, the angel of peace is going to show up in the Americas. Meanwhile, the prophet Elijah, as it says here, is like being another part of the earth. It's like, okay, has anyone else talked about this prophet Elijah? Yes, other prophets have. And I'm going to tell you who that person is. So that person, first run down in history, if you go to the Old Testament in the Bible, you're going to see it's like there's a guy called Elijah. He's known as the restorer. Okay, keep walking with me. Okay, so then after that, New Testament, who would he have that is like Elijah? It is said that the new Elijah is John the Baptist. Okay, there's another guy who's called the Elijah. And then I'm going to say that after John the Baptist, I'm gonna make the claim that there came someone after John the Baptist, not in this millennium. It's like, wait, not in this century. Sorry, that's the proper way of saying it. Not in this century. His name was Saint Francis of Assisi because the original name when he was baptized was Giovanni, which is another name for John. And God told Saint Francis of Assisi, rebuild my church. So Elijah, Old Testament, was known as a restorer. John the Baptist, he was also known as a new Elijah. Also, St. Francis of Assisi was basically told by God, rebuild my church. And then we have another Elijah right here, mentioned right here in this document. So basically, based off those lines, you're going to be like, all right, this Elijah, Prophet Elijah, is going to be a restorer. So who could that be? I'm going to make the claim that it is the great monarch. Because if you go to the YouTube channel Okrug Media, they're like a French, English, and Spanish channel, mainly English, but sometimes French channel. They talk about the great monarch and the prophecies of Mary Julie Jahaney, the Third Order Franciscan. And also there is someone who goes on this show called Jean who talks about a prophet called Martin. So Mary Julia Jahaney lived between the years of 1850 and 1941, and she was told by God that there would be a great monarch, a saintly ruler beloved by heaven, who would restore the Catholic and Roman Catholic faith after years of chastisements, persecution, desolation, and union with an angelic pontiff, who would reign over the Roman Catholic Church in the final days before the appearance of the Antichrist. So I'm going to mainly focus on the fact that the great monarch is going to be a saintly ruler beloved by heaven who will restore the Roman Catholic faith. All right, so we have a restorer, basically. This is the summary they have on this website. If you go through the website, you're going to be like, oh, there's a bunch of things about what was revealed to her. Like literally, it's like, our Lord on July 23, 1925, told her stuff. So, but that was the base. This first paragraph is just a summary of what's going on. So, yes. So the prophet Elijah, as mentioned here, I'm gonna make the claim that is the saintly ruler, the great monarch, because he is literally gonna restore the Catholic faith. And yes, you can go to the YouTube channel of Ukruk Media, and which is this one, and you can the hosts of Xavier and Monique will tell you things in French, if you go to the French videos, about the great monarch, mainly by Jean, who talks about the great monarch. Or if you buy the book Revelations by Sauvier, you would also be able to read a bunch of prophecies in that book, including the ones from Mary Julie Jahaney, which talk about the great monarch. So, um, and okay, I want to point out that also in these prophecies of Mary Julie Jahaney, I want to say that even though if I go back to my document, um, we talk about the prophet Elijah, and if you go to Mary Julie Jahaney, she also talks about a bit about an angelic pontiff that God revealed to her that would appear as well during this time of the great monarch. I wanted to make the claim that the angelic pontiff is not the prophet Elijah, because the angelic pontiff is only going to live for 3 years. Um, Also, the great monarch is he's literally, his task is to restore the Roman Catholic faith. So he's a king, and if you are a king and you have government powers, with your government powers, you can make sure that religion becomes the law of the land. Versus if you refer to the original times of the apostles when they were like being persecuted, uh, literally you have like 11 apostles. Just, well, if we don't account for if we talk about the just 11 apostles, um, the only one that survives, not by the one that isn't martyred off, is John the Evangelist, but all the other ones are martyred off. Saint Paul, I I I'm not I would believe he was martyred. Yeah, I think he was martyred too. Yes. Anyways, so that would be, you can say 12. Anyways, but I'm just saying 11 apostles for now, excluding Saint Paul. He was not originally part of the 12. Anyway, so where's it going with this? So in those times, Peter was the pope, but the church was being persecuted. So you can't really like build a massive era of peace, of like a big, enormous uh era of peace where anybody who follows Catholicism can grow. And if you go to Cruz de Maria and you hear Padre Michel, Luz de Maria, etc., you're going to see it's like this era of peace is going to come. The Catholic faith is going to flourish, is going to be rebuilt, etc. It's like all these prophets talking, Mary Julie Jahaney, Martin, etc. Um, they talk about like the church coming back, revamping. Go to Cruz de Media YouTube channel and just go to the French portion. They say a lot of good things in the French portion about the Great Monarch. So anyways, so yeah, he's a restorer, so I would say he's the Elijah. He's gonna, yeah, and trying to make sure I don't talk too much about him, because this is the emphasis of the angel of peace right now. But I do need to explain who the prophet Elijah is. Um, um, and if you fear that the great monarch, if you fear powers of kings because like, oh, they're in checks, they can do whatever they want. When the great monarch comes in, he will be put into power by God himself. So you can imagine that whoever goes in power, God will be their judge. And as Jean said in Ukruk Media, that the great monarch will declare himself a viceroy of God. He's not gonna be declaring just like, I am a pompous king. No, he's gonna declare himself lower than, even though he's king over France, he'll be a French emperor. He's gonna declare himself like less than. So you don't have to feel like, oh, there's gonna be a bad king. He's gonna make bad decision about it. He might be overtaxing. He might not care about the community, etc. No, if God is a true king, there's no need to fear about whoever he puts in power, because God is literally like, hey, what you doing, buddy? I see you. I see you. Do good. Okay. So, anyways, let's see. Oh yeah, right. So this is, I mentioned Martin, who's another prophet who talks about who talks about the great monarch. You can find the prophecies from Martin on this website. It is a French website, right now I told Google to translate it for me. So I think I did. Yeah, it's translating for me. So this website is really in French. I'll put in the description down below along with everything else that I'm going to be using hopefully here um, down below, and just tell Google to translate it. Just go here, go there, and go there. Yes. Anyway, so that's that. Um, Same if you watch the Ukruk media videos in French that tell you a lot about the Great Monarch. You just go to the settings, you just go to oh wait, first you click this CC button. You click it, make sure it looks like that. You go to the settings, you go to subtitles, and you tell it auto translate, and then it's gonna give you a whole list to pick from. You look for English, you click English, and there you go, it's English now. That's that. Anyways, so, and let me see. Um, Last note, and well, it's too many notes. Great Monarch, France is gonna be conquered during bad things, and bad things are gonna happen to us, but I'm not gonna specify that right now. The world's gonna go through some bad phases. Go to Cruzado Media, that's tell you all about it. Um, Watch the videos. Anyway, so France is going to be conquered. The Great Monarch will liberate France and also liberate Italy and make sure the Pope goes back to Rome. So he's going to help the Roman Pontiff regain control. So you'll be like, what the heck? Where did that come from? Go to Cruzado Media, watch the videos, because right now I'm trying to focus on the angelic piece. I can't focus too much on the Great Monarch. Let's say, okay, going back to the document. So here it says there's 5 secrets revealed. So no, this is the first of the 5 secrets revealed. So there's 5 secrets God has given to Luz de Maria, and she is currently, by the order of God, only revealed 4. The 5th one has not been revealed yet. The only one pertaining directly to the angel piece is the first one. So that's the one I put on here. So the 5th will be revealed, from my understanding, near the time when the church will be almost fully purified, or the people of God will be mostly fully purified. One of those two. Maybe this is probably the people. Maybe it might be the same, because the people who are part of the Catholic faith are part of the Catholic Church. They make up the Catholic Church, so that is the body of the church. Anyway, so the reason I know that Luz de Maria knows the first secret. She was told by God, because one time Xavier Crux Media literally, I think he asked her, and I'm pretty sure he did, on like live stream, and it's like, hey, do you have the 5th secret? And she remained silent and just smiled. So I will take that as a yes, that she does have it, but God has not ordered her to reveal it. And if God tells you to do something, you do it. If God tells you not to do something, you don't do it. If he told her to keep silence, then therefore she should not break that silence until he tells her, it's like, hey, you can reveal the 5th secret now. Because if she reveals the 5th secret now before it's time, before God tells her to reveal it, then she basically very badly sinning against God, and she can risk condemning herself. So best she doesn't reveal it until God lets her to. So it's a good secret though. All right, 4th, I have bullet point, note number 4 out of 7. Okay, so I want to make something of note here. So there's many apparitions of the Virgin Mary throughout history. I talked about the ones occurring to Mary Julia Jahaney just now, and she had not only God appearing to her, but also the Virgin Mary. Also, there is another one out there that if you have read it, you might think and say, oh, there's 2 people being talked about in this secret. Could that mean this virgin apparition is talking about these 2 people? I'm going to say no. And that one that I'm referring to right now is the Virgin La Salette. So I'm going to say the Virgin La Salette does not talk about the prophet Elijah or the angel of peace, because they say, where is it? So first off, if you go, I'm going to go first off the angel of peace. So angel of peace, he says, he will fight spiritually, intellectually, and physically against the attacks of the Antichrist and his demonic legions. Okay, he's fighting. He's a fighter. He's fighting against the Antichrist. Okay. I had a good point here. Let me see. Okay, so my point is, let's see. So he is going to be fighting against the Antichrist. Yes. And if you go through this document, which I'm going to go through with you guys, you're going to see the angel of peace is going to win against the Antichrist. Okay, so this document, later on, I'm going to tell you that the angel of peace will win against the Antichrist. Okay, so that's note 1. Note 2. If you go here, Great Monarch, if you go through this, you're going to see it's like, oh, the Great Monarch will also win against the Antichrist, because he's literally going to liberate France from being conquered by enemy forces and liberate Italy as well. So he's going to defeat the Antichrist. So both the Angel of Peace and the Great Monarch will defeat the forces in the Antichrist. However, if you go to the message of Our Lady of La Salette, she talks about two other important people that are going to show up. Their names are Enoch and Elias, or their names might be different right now in this world, and this is how the Virgin Mary is referring to them. So these two people that she refers to in her prophecy, she says, but there are Enoch and Elias. They will preach with the power of God, and men of goodwill will believe in God, and many souls will be comforted. Okay? So that's Enoch and Elias. However, you keep reading, you notice it's like Enoch and Elias will be put to death. Okay, so Enoch and Elias will be put to death. And the reason that is because the Antichrist will defeat them. He will kill both of them. However, we also, no, I'm not a however. We know these two people will be put to death. Why? Because if you go to Revelations, there's a name for them. They refer to them as well. They're called the two witnesses. So Virgin La Salette is talking about two witnesses that if you go to Revelations chapter 11, verse 3, you're going to see, I will commission my two witnesses to prophecy for those 1260 days wearing sackcloth. You go to the Virgin La Salette, and she's going to have Enoch and Elias will preach with the power of God, and men of goodwill will believe in God, and many souls will be comforted. Okay, so they will make great prophecies by virtue of the Holy Ghost, and will condemn the diabolical errors of the Antichrist. So they're basically prophets. Okay, so the two witnesses, comparing it to La Salette, they're the same people. So Enoch and Elias from the La Salette are the two witnesses. And also, the same as the Virgin La Salette has announced, they will die. The two witnesses will die. So if you keep reading, you see it's like, when they have finished the testimony, the beast that comes up from the abyss will wage war against them and conquer them and kill them. Okay, so you have the two witnesses will condemn the diabolical errors of the Antichrist. Okay, they are waging war with the Antichrist. And Enoch and Elias will be put to death. So therefore, that completes verse 7 of Revelation chapter 11, which says, the two witnesses will be put to death. Enoch and Elias will be put to death. However, God always wins, so that's nothing. It's like, die, please. God can just resurrect them, as it says in Revelation chapter 11, verse 11. It says, but after 3.5 days, a breath of life came from God entered them. When they stood on their feet, great fear fell on those who saw them. So therefore, they came back to life. So in short, Virgin La Salette talks about the two witnesses, not of the Angel of Peace or the Great Monarch, because the Great Monarch and the Angel of Peace do not die, but they succeed against their war against the the Antichrist. Meanwhile, the two witnesses who do appear, they actually do pass away. So I'm going to say there's, along with the angelic pontiff that is also mentioned in the prophecies of Mary Julie Jahaney, there is 5 important people coming to us, humanity. They might be already, they might be already alive. They should already be alive, from my understanding. And God will reveal them in the time that He needs to reveal them. Maybe it's like once the bad stuff starts happening, Antichrist reveals himself. Then therefore, boom, 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 boom. These 5 people start coming onto the field. So you have, in these by these 5 people, I say it's the angel of peace, which is mentioned by Luz de Maria. You have the great monarch and the angelic pontiff, who are both mentioned by Mary Julie Jahaney, and great monarch is also talked about by Martin. And you have which is this prophet, this guy, the French website, because he's French. From my understanding, yes, I think so, because that should be a French place. Anyway, so that's 3, and you have the 2 witnesses from the Virgin of Salette, which is Enoch and Elias. So that's 5 important people standing with God, to stand with the faithful of God, and basically to fight against the Antichrist. Okay, that's at least 5, and in my opinion, there is more. There's more people coming. However, that's another video. I may not have time to make said video. So if you want to learn more about these 5 people that I have talked about, read the prophecies of Mary Julie Jahaney and Martin for the great monarch and the angelic pontiff. For the 2 witnesses, read the Bible, bro. Go to Revelation chapter 11 and go to Virgin Salette. Angel of Peace. Read the prophecies from Luz de Maria. Read the document I'm literally talking about. And also, I recommend the Virgin of Good Success, because I believe that he was the prelate mentioned by the Virgin of Good Success, and I can discuss that more later because I have so many other bullet points. I have to stop this video. Okay, so I found it. So I highlighted it in blue. So right now it says, the times of gold will come for this monastery. This prelate will be happy and rewarded by God. My son, very loved, who, and I'm going to skip this whole section here because there's like a middle portion. It's like a dash portion. Think of it like parentheses. Who will ask the vicar of my divine son here on earth that the friars minor govern this monastery. Okay, the order of friars minor is a Franciscan, is the original Franciscan body, founded by Saint Francis of Assisi, his original religious community. So, yes, when we know that the prelate comes, he's going to come to the one that's going to restore the church. If you just keep going through this, I might may talk more about him eventually as I get through it. This document series, the prelate is gonna come and restore the church, and he is and when we know that he is here, this prelate to save the church is here, he is gonna ask the Pope, the vicar of Mary's divine son, which is Jesus, to give the orders of friars minor the order and the ability to govern the monastery of these nuns that are the nuns of the Immaculate Conception, of the monastery of the Immaculate Conception. So, and when that happens, they're not going to be like, oh, we're just changing governments from what they are currently right now. If you look it up, they're under the governance of the Archbishop of Quito in Ecuador. They're not just going to change hands and that's it. No, they're going to be put back on the original rule that they were founded on. That's what this is, like, to the fulfillment of the exact rule of the rule, which is the original rule they were founded on. And the original rule they were founded on is very hard. And because that is a very hard rule, my opinion is, from my understanding, that because this rule even ordered disciplines to be performed on the nuns, which when Mother Mariana was there, one of the nuns, she was even bleeding because because of these disciplines, to the point that she would even hang herself on a cross. So these disciplines are not your average day thing that you'd be like, oh, there's a convent of nuns by down the block, or in somewhere random in Bolivia or something. It's like, oh, they're nice nuns. No, they're not just nuns. They're not just people who pray in a house and that's it. No, these nuns, if you read the story of the Mother Mariana, these nuns are hardcore. They are something else. They are extraordinary. They are shields God uses against his divine wrath. Because the world deserves to be burned to the stake because of all the sins it commits. But by having these nuns who mortify themselves through penances and these harsh disciplines, God's wrath is simmered down, placated. If I'm saying the word wrong, I'm sorry. But because of the actions of these nuns. And right now, from what I was reading through this whole book, is that this rule is like the nuns that after the many years of Mother Mariana, they're just gonna, it's the flame of devotion for this rule is simmering down, and it has to be reestablished by this prelate to come to save the church. And I'm making the claim that he is, because it says here that when the prelate comes, he's gonna um, basically save the church. So when the great monarch, the prophet Elijah and the angel of peace come to basically fight against the Antichrist, and also the great monarch is supposed to be tasked with revamping and just saving the church. No, I'm just going to say saving the church, restoring the church, because he is the Elijah. And then the angel of peace is supposed to be the missionary of the divine word and sow the seed. So the beloved prophet Elisha will reap what is sown by a few faithful souls. They're both working for restoring the church. They're both working for restoring the church. That is their goal. So therefore, if they restore the church before this prelate, the Virgin of Good Success, comes, that he's supposed to restore the church, that would not make sense. So therefore, the prelate must come when these two appear, the angel of peace and the prophet Elijah appear, to restore the church. So therefore, if these two are working for restoring the church, then one of them must be the prelate. And if Elijah is the great monarch, he is a king. He's preoccupied of building a kingdom and using his power as king to rebuild the church. Then therefore, the only other option for who is going to be the prelate of the Virgin of Good Success, it has to be the angel of peace. So that's that. Also, I want to make a note that in Spanish, when you say prelate, the word for it is prelado, and that can not only refer to a bishop, that refers to a bishop, but it can also refer to a leader of religious community. It doesn't just have to be a bishop. That's what I got from reading this book, because that's how it's literally it uses that word for that. So in Spanish, besides using the word bishop. I think that's how it is. I know for a fact that Spanish doesn't just use the word prelado for bishop. It uses also for like a leader for like a religious group, or might just be a leader of a monastery, something along those lines. So, another fact that builds upon the fact that the prelate mentioned by the Virgin of Good Success has to be the angel of peace. I'm going to say that the word messenger here is used to describe the angel of peace. And if you go back to the Old Testament, you're going to see that angels were originally sent to humans to give the word of God. But then when Jesus came and then he sent his apostles to the world, now the people sending the word of God to the people is now human beings, Who are they? They are priests. They are the apostles. The descendants of the apostles now are bishops, because any single bishop now has the same rank of a previous apostle, and they have also their priests that they ordain. So priests now are serving the roles of messengers of God that the angels used to serve in the Old Testament. So now, by that conclusion, one can say, well, if you literally have the angel peace, who is a messenger of the divine word, then therefore, because he is human, as you will realize in this document, keep reading, you're going to see, because he is human, and it is declared that he's a messenger of the divine word, then therefore, he is a priest. Okay? So, and because he is a priest, and the Virgin Augusta has talked about him being a prelate, so therefore it makes sense that the guy who is a priest can become a bishop and can basically be the prelate that the Virgin Augusta has talked about to restore the church, who will alongside do that with the great monarch. Okay? You following my train of thought here? Okay. So, that doesn't mean he's ordained a priest just yet. It just says he will be. Okay? Because I should have mentioned in a previous video when I was, if I didn't, I didn't. But I messaged Luz de Maria and I asked her, I was like, okay, if you go through this document, you're going to see that there's something we refer to the angel piece as a young person. And I'm not, it's like, you can't just call everybody, even someone who's 80, young. No, it's like, I wanted to know the age limit for that. So Luz de Maria described that the age limit for that, from my understanding, she described that the age limit for that is 29 years old. Anything above that, no. They are not qualified to be the angel of peace. So, anybody you can be like, oh, this bishop, oh, this priest that I know. No. If they're older than 29, don't even think about it. Also, another fact, I don't think he's ordained a priest just yet. Because if you go scrolling down, you're going to see that some of the prophecies say that he will remain within a family. So because he's remaining within a family, so he can't really, I'm going to make the argument that he's not a priest yet, because he has to remain within a family. And if you are a priest, you're someone who's been ordained to be a priest, you have to go to seminary. You can't remain within a family. You're a seminary. You belong to God now. So I'm going to make the argument that he hasn't been ordained a priest just yet. Okay? There you go. So he's not a priest. He's not even a seminarian. Okay. Okay, talked about that. Sure, I'll talk about that because I wrote it down. Why not? So if I go over here, back to the Virgin Augusta Sass, and I talk about the like how this monastery of nuns is going to be put back under the order of the Friars Minor, or Order of Friars Minor. They have to follow the original rule they were founded on. And St. Francis himself was saying, there's like quotes, or quote, I should probably quote, or quotes from St. Francis of Assisi, that when he's talking about the rule, no one should be against it. It's more like, this is what St. Francis said, no comment, no comment, no comment, to the letter, to the letter, to the letter. So, when it comes to the Franciscan rule, Franciscans, that from my understanding, these nuns should follow the original rule to the letter, to the letter, to the letter, no comment, no comment, no comment. And if these nuns are having a very hard rule put upon themselves, then those who put the rule upon them, which will be the Orders of Friars Minor, must make sure that they themselves are also capable of making them follow said rule. So if the rule is harsh, like I said previously, that the Mother Mariana is literally hung herself on a cross multiple times. Also, they have very harsh disciplines and penances. Many nuns were like out of voluntary in that time, and Mother Mariana would eat off the floor and stuff like that. There was a time they even like found random place from who knows where. Don't ask how dirty they were, and they ate off of those plates. And they had a prison, and they probably still have the prison in their monastery right now. And many things, many disciplines, it's like even made Mother Mariana bleed. So they had very hard disciplines put on them. Maybe not all of them were from the rule and they voluntarily did it, but any case, if you have like Franciscan friar, orders of Franciscan minor, friars minor, who are not living by the original rule of piety of Saint Francis of Assisi, which is also a very hard rule to live by, how can they properly then govern the monastery of the Immaculate Conception, which is these nuns that I've been talking about, if they themselves don't put a hard rule on themselves? Because if you see, there's a video I watched about Capuchins in Texas who they literally they're showing their life, and the video literally start with a Capuchin sleeping in a bed. Meanwhile, Saint Francis one time slept outside of the convent of St. Clair and literally had rats run over his face. So there is a stark difference there. And if you keep watching that video, I'm talking about they're like they're like making popcorn in a microwave, and so they can chill with the brothers later. And I was like, I'm sorry, this sounds like an attack, but I'm just saying as it is. It's like can someone who's very lax right now rule a monastery that requires very hard and stringent values and rules? You must yourself be following a very hard rule that requires a very, in terms of St. Francis, very strong sense of poverty to be able to rule over somebody else who also has a very hard rule. So, in my opinion, the Franciscans, they have there has to be a very stark change that happens with them in order to be able to rule these nuns. So that's a side comment. Okay, another thing I want to note, it's probably my last note that I'm going to make for this video if I don't keep rambling. So it says that, where is it? Okay, so let me read it. Okay, so if you keep reading through this document, you're going to see that the angel piece is supposed to come after the Antichrist. Okay, so the angel piece is supposed to come after the Antichrist before he's going as like full Mortal Kombat over here with the Antichrist and demonic legions over here. so, um, so before so if you go through this document, you'll see that he appears after the Antichrist and demonic legions. And if you go to Crux of Media and you go through the videos and start learning about refuges, if you can go to the library, you can read things about refuges there. So you're gonna see that the warning comes first. 42 days are going to pass between, like, after the warning. After the warning, if you don't know what the warning is, there's a book by Christine Mawkins. You can buy it and read it, or you can go to Okrusa Media. They have a whole video about the warning. You can watch that too, or you can go to Christine Mawkins Queen of Peace YouTube channel and just see if she has something about it. Anyways, so 42 days after the warning, the refuges, it's like people are going to be sent to the refuges. Anybody who's been selected by God to be sent to the refuges. So they're going to be sent to the refuges. And then the Antichrist, after that, from my analysis, from all these prophecies, I think it's Father Michel maybe it's Father Michel or somebody else who says it. Father Michel is a prophet right now. He's alive. That says that Antichrist will appear once the refuges, it's like once the refuges appear, right after that, the Antichrist is going to appear. And then from here, if we go through this document, the angel pieces are going to come after the Antichrist appears. Okay, so I'm establishing a timeline. And after that, Elijah, the great monarch, is supposed to come after that. And from what I learned from Okrux Media, probably through the French videos they make, is that the great monarch is supposed to appear near the end of the time of the refuges. If I understood that properly. Because I do know at the end of the day, he exits the refuges and declares war to reconquer France and save Italy from the Antichrist. So there you go. And another note. I have you. um, So this comment here, if you read this, for me, this is weird. So I explained the timeline, right? Okay, give me. I explained the timeline, right? So I explained the timeline, and um, it is he. So the angel piece is he who will convert a small number of human beings for the good of their souls and their salvation. So this comment, I'm not. I believe from my understanding that if the angel piece, once he's presented, these things happen, then therefore, then this comment by Saint Michael the Archangel, because this is the black stuff is Saint Michael the Archangel. This comment must happen and become true once the angel piece reveals himself. So it is the angel piece who will convert a small number of human beings for the good of their souls and their salvation. The weird thing here, in my opinion, is that I explained the angel piece basically comes after the times of the refuges, and anybody who sends to the refuges, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to social media, read it, learn about it, learn more about the refuges. It's basically, think of a Noah's Ark. Bad stuff is gonna happen. You're put in Noah's Ark. Virgin Mary's in a Noah's Ark. The new Ark. She is gonna save us. We're gonna be put in the Ark. And according to Father Michel, anybody who goes into a refuge, those refuges are being basically under the protection of the Virgin of Mount Carmel. That's something along those lines. So the Virgin Mary is gonna be basically protecting us in the refuges from very bad things happening, earthquakes, meteors, etc. So meanwhile, all this stuff, all these meteors, etc., bad stuff is happening outside, or tsunamis, etc. The faithful that have converted, have chosen God because of the warning, or because they already believed in God beforehand, that truly want to follow God, will be put in the refuges and safeguarded. So all these people have already basically, think of it, converted per se. They're put in refuges, and then after that, Antichrist appears. After that, the angel of peace comes. So then this is weird for me because the people in the refuges already converted technically. So then it is he, the angel of peace, who will convert a small number of human beings for the good of their souls and their salvation. So will the angel of peace therefore be working outside of the refuges with all the tsunamis and chaos outside and still trying to find more people to convert? That's my understanding from this, because anybody within the refuges should already be converted. But it is also said if you go through this document, he's going to talk to the faithful of God. He's going to be their balm. He's going to be talking to them. So basically, he's also going to be talking to the people in the refuges. So it's like a duality here. Unless this refers to, it's like, all right, someone just converted to Catholic. Camera, bro. Someone just converted to Catholicism. They are in the refuges. However, they need someone to teach them, convert them more or something. Then maybe that's what this applies to. It makes more sense to me if he's talking to people outside the refuges, but that's case in point. So that should be it of my whole ramble video. So thank you. Have a good day. God bless. And tune in next time for episode 4.